guys, and welcome back to Sprig Views. Today you are going to learn how to make a planter box for your vegetables and plants. We're going to go through some easy steps, what you need, material, how to put it together, and that's basically it. That's how simple it is. So yeah, let's get going. For those of you without any power tools, because we don't all own power tools, all you'll need is a handsaw, a hammer, tape measure, a square, and a pencil. If you have power tools, use a drill or a circular saw. And what I'm going to be using, if you have one of these, this does make things a bit easier, is a chop saw. Mine has a bit of a blunt blade right now, but I'll have to make do. So for material, I'm going to be using pressure treated deck boards and pressure treated 2x4. I know your question is going to be, is it safe to use pressure treated for a plant box? Yes, it's safe. It didn't used to be safe, but modern day pressure treated is that they now use copper to treat it, which is basically the same as what your water flows through. Check it on Google if you're still unsure. If you're really concerned, you can line it with some liner. Also, you can build these with probably the best but most expensive option would probably be cedar, or you can actually build it with some interior wood. It just won't last as long. Pressure treated is the best probably for cost. It's made to build decks, so it's built to last outside, and it will last you, if you do it properly, it'll last you over 10 years if you use the right screws, which we'll talk about. So yeah, pressure treated. Also, I'm going to put a list of the material that I'm using if you want to build the exact size I'm building, but if you want to build a different size, you can just use the same method, just make things longer. I'm going to talk a bit more about that. So yeah, the list is below. I'm going to be making, at the moment I'm planning on making a 6x4 feet wide. I'll put the conversions into the metric system below as well. So yeah, I'm going to be making 4x6, so I'll put all the list, which all you need is that list. You can order online, and a lot of companies, even with COVID-19, will still drop it off at your doorstep, or you can pick it up curbside. So you're looking to keep busy, this is a good little project for you. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is figure out how high you want to make it. So I'm going to be making mine 4 boards or deck boards high. Now, to work out your size, you can either measure 1 and times it by 4, or a quick method is lie 4 boards together, take your measurement. So I have 22 inches. So just write that size down somewhere, because you're going to need that size and you don't want to forget it. Okay, then what you want to do is you want to get your 2x4, and then you want to mark that number that you wrote down. My number was 22, so you want to mark 22. And then what I always do, even if I'm using a chop saw that will set a 90-degree line for you, I always put a square line on it. Square line never lies. It's always going to be 90 degrees if you hold it on the wood properly. It was a trick I learned when I was doing my apprenticeship, and it's something that I think everyone should stick to when doing DIY projects. That way you'll always get a nice square cut. Now, if you're doing this with a handsaw, to help you get a more square cut this way, sometimes it helps if you just put trace your line right to the front and the back of the wood. You can do this, or you can use a block of wood as a guide, but this way I find it's quicker. So when you're using a handsaw, don't cut your fingers. When you're cutting the line, you always want to, what I say is split the line. So you want to still be able to just see your pencil line as you cut. So when you start, just soft strokes, barely, don't push it, just bring it back and forth and let the saw do the work. Number 1 rule. So if you, like, I'm barely putting any pressure on this at all, and this is just cutting. And once you get in there a little bit, then you can start going a bit faster and put a bit of pressure on it. And when you get near the end of your cut, always catch the piece of wood. I'm right-handed, so always catch a piece of wood, because what will happen is it will fall down before you're finished cutting, and it will split the wood, which you don't want. So that's with a handsaw. Now for this method, using the power saw, it's a bit more hands, so you need to get your speed square. You want to hold your speed square, you want to set your blade to the line, and you use your speed square as a guide. So you push up the metal part there, find your line, hold your left hand nice and tight, make sure your wood is supported, and then just start your saw. And it'll give you a perfect square cut. Best tool, simplest tool ever, square. Now for my favourite method, quickest method, using the chop saw. As you notice, I still put my square line on even though this is set at 0. Actually, I need to plug it in. That helps. Yeah, and whenever you're using a tool like this, make sure you read the safety instructions. No matter how uncool you look, always wear safety goggles. So this is pretty straightforward. You pull the trigger. Always make sure you start your blade before it touches the wood, otherwise it can ping back. So always start your blade. This blade's a little blunt, but it'll do the trick. This is by far the quickest and easiest method, so you don't have to have a big Milwaukee chop saw like this. You can do it with a smaller one. You can buy some pretty cheap Ryobis for like DIYers. So that's the method we're going to use to cut all the wood. So just apply the same method whether it's with power tools or without power tools. Just apply the same method, and that's how we're going to cut all the material today. So the ones that I just cut, the 2x4, we need 8 of those at the size that we wrote down at the start, which mine was 22 because I'm going 4 boards high. If you want to do more, you can make it more. It's still the same idea for any size of your build. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Please like and subscribe and hit the notifications button. I've got a few other projects I will be doing as well, including a dog bed and maybe some small planter boxes. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying it, hope you're following along okay. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'll answer you when I can. Yeah, so build one of these for a family member, for yourself. I want to see the pictures of your attempts at it or your finished projects, and I hope it helps. So as you can see, we have our 8 6-foot boards, our 8 4-foot boards, and our 8 22-inch 2x4s. You can actually also make this so that it stands up. I'm building this to sit in the ground, but all you would need to do to make it stand up is make these longer, and that will act also as your legs, but I'm going to show you as I put it together. Another quick tip here is to save on time. If you have a big enough saw, you can cut more than 1 board at a time. I have 2 here. This one could probably do 4 at a time, only if you feel confident in doing so. I don't recommend doing it with a power saw, because of the circular saw, because sometimes it can jam the saw and it can twitch. But on this saw, it's okay to do it on this type of saw. With a hand saw, just do 1 at a time. It'll take you longer, but you don't have to buy a power saw. So what you want to do is you want to get your 2x4s, get 2 of them, and what you're going to do is you're going to screw them together like this, in an L shape, like this. So find a nice flat surface. You can add glue to this if you want to make it extra strong, but I'm just going to be using screws because I don't think it requires glue. So once you get 1 screw in, it should hold it strong enough that if you want to put it in an easier position to screw, you can. So I'm going to put it like this. I'd recommend that you put 4 or 5 screws. It might seem like overkill, but the stronger it is, the better. So yeah, I'm just gonna put 4 in. I think that's enough. There you have it. That's your L. This is the shape you want to make. So now you're going to have 4 pieces that look like this. These are your 4 corners on the dog. Now for this next stage, you're going to take 2 of your corners. You're going to have them like this. Make sure they're like this, and then you're going to lie them flat. And then what you want to do is take 4 of your 4-foot boards and just lie them on top like this. So you're going to do 1, 2. 3, 4. So make sure you pull these in nice and tight. Make sure that your top is level. They should be level because we've cut them all to the right length. So now we're going to use a 2-inch deck screw to fix these to the corners. So you want to put 3 in each board. You can pre-drill these if you want to. I'm not, because they're driving in pretty well, but it will give you a better fixing and it's less likely to split the wood. So you can pre-drill it if you like. I'm not going to. You're going to want 2 of these. It looks something like this. That says used up all 8 of the 2x4s and 8 of the deck boards at 4 feet. What I'm going to do next is you want to set it up like this. So you've got your 4-foot sections here and here, and then you have your 6-foot board going across. So if you can sit up, it's easier with 2 people, so if you have an extra pair of hands to help hold it up like this, that's great. If not, you can set it up so it can balance like this. And then you want it so that the 2x4s are on the outside, and you want this board to sit up against the 2x4 here, like so. And then you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to screw. You're going to put a screw through here into the 2x4, and then you're going to work your way up with your boards. So we're going to screw one piece of deck board here onto this side. You want to center it in the middle. It doesn't have to be exact center. You're not going to see it, so just roughly center is fine. And then you want to put one on the other side as well. So I'm just using some deck board. That's going to be cut at the same length as we cut our 2x4 earlier, which was 22 inches. And then I'm just going to screw this on here. What you want to do, put this piece that you've cut, line it up with your center marks. This will make it to the exact width that you want it. And then all you do is get your 3-inch screw. From the outside, you want to look through the piece of wood. Make sure your screw is lining up with the piece that you're putting in. And then put your screw. part doesn't have to be 100%, it doesn't have to look 100% perfect. This is just for strength. This is all going to be covered in soil in your membrane, so it doesn't really need to be exactly, it just needs to give it that strength so that it doesn't pull apart. Like this. Your piece in the middle, nice and strong, screwed from the outside. Now realistically, if you wanted, you could just line that now and use it as a planter right off the bat, but I'm going to make it look a little bit nicer. I'm going to put some 2x4 in the top here. It also gives you something to set your bum cheek on when you're leaning over doing your gardening, and it also gives it a little bit of added strength as well. For your corners, if you want to be very fancy, you can do a 45 cut on your corners and it looks a bit nicer, a bit more work. I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to put my square. You just need to remember that you want your square board to come over both of these, and then you want to screw in each one. So first of all, you just need to measure the total length. So from here, so we have 77 1/8. So you want to cut two 2x4s at that size. You want to make sure that it lines up with your outside 2x4 on each side. So you want it to line up there. And then get your 3-inch screw. You can pre-drill this if you want. Make sure it's nice and lined up. One in there. And then one in the other 2x4, which is on this side. And then a third over here. So you want 3 in each one. This really adds a lot of strength to it. This will stop it from wobbling about. Just to add a bit more strength to the whole thing overall, let's put a couple of screws going into the top of the deck board. The way to get your perfect line for that is measure to the edge of the deck board on the bottom, and then mark that edge on the top, and then just come in slightly from it and put your screw right into the deck board. If you're good enough, you've done it before, you can just do it by eye, but I recommend marking it. So that's good on both sides. You want to just do that on these ones and these ones. And there you have it, a 6x4 planter box. All you would need to do now is put this in your garden or your yard, wherever you want it, and then put your liner in. So you want to put your liner on the floor, up the sides, and staple onto this wood, and then fill it with the soil of your choice, and then you can grow whatever you like. You can grow your fruits and veg, or if you live in Canada, you could grow yourself some cannabis, whatever floats your boat. But I'm going to do a bit of sanding on the corners just to make it look a bit nicer. But this is your basic planter. There are a lot more fancy ones out there. I made this one because I had this material left over from decks and boards I didn't want to use in decks. I thought it would make it a perfect planter. You will need 2 people to lift this. But if you make the smaller one, which I'll put in the description, the material you need for that, it'll be a bit easier to move around. But this is what I wanted for my yard, and this will do me for the next 10 years. Once I get it all set up and when the weather's a bit better, I'll probably do another video. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this helps you with your project. This is a fairly straightforward one. If you have any questions about how I'm doing it, or it's something you're unsure about, just leave it in the comments below and I will get back to you. Also, I will leave some description material list of different sizes of the same one. I just built this size because I wanted a bigger one for my garden. Please don't forget, like, subscribe. I've got a bunch more videos like this that are coming out. And yeah, share this with your friends, your family that are stuck at home looking for something to do. You can build one of these without having to leave the house. You can have your material dropped to your door if you live in Canada. I'm not too sure about the rest of the world. Or you might have some wood lying around. This was all leftover material from jobs, so I didn't spend a penny on making this. So yeah, I will see you in the next video.